day of trial, betrayal, and denial. The day after the Last Supper, the day before the Sabbath. It was the day that Jesus would die. This is Friday. In the city of Jerusalem, the city of peace, there would be no peace today, because this was not a day of peace, but a day of war. Humanity at war against God, and God at war against sin. This is Friday. Golgotha, the place of the skull, the cross, an instrument of death, a purple robe, a crown of thorns, a sign above the Savior's head. All hail, King of the Jews. And someday they will. But not today. Today is not a day of worship, but a day of mourning. Today is the day that Jesus would die. This is Friday.
This perfume had special instructions. Use it wisely, my grandma told me. Only for special occasions. Her mother gave this to her as a gift and said the exact same thing. Only for special occasions. It was heavy perfume. I asked her, so is there no occasion special enough? She laughed. Only my wedding to your grandfather, and that wasn't even special enough. Only for special occasions. I held on to the perfume, not knowing what could possibly be special enough. I guess I became more like my grandma, not finding an occasion special enough for this. Until it was 6 days before Passover. He was reclined, feet towards me. All his followers came. I, too, was a follower. At first, from a distance. But he invited us all. The woman. Everyone, really. To hear the stories of God's kingdom and share the joy in his presence. That night, I gathered my perfume from its hiding place. The room was crowded with men. No one noticed me. Without hesitation, I knelt down and broke the lid of the perfume and drenched his feet with it. He smiled slightly, looking at me. And then I did something I thought I'd never do. I covered his feet with my hair, washing it with my tears. He was the Messiah, worthy of anointing. This was the celebration we were hoping for. Who we were hoping for. I kept the bottle and the memories. The perfume was not wasted. He was the most special occasion.
As they approached Jerusalem and came to Bethphage and Bethany at the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent 2 of his disciples, saying to them, "Go to the village ahead of you, and just as you enter it, you will find a colt tied there which no one has ever ridden. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks you, 'Why are you doing this?' say, 'The Lord needs it, and will send it back here shortly.'" They went and found a colt outside in the street, tied at a doorway. As they untied it, some people standing there asked, "What are you doing, untying that colt?" They answered as Jesus had told them to, and the people let them go. When they brought the colt to Jesus and threw their cloaks over it, he sat on it. Many people spread their cloaks on the road, while others spread branches they had cut in the fields. Those who went ahead and those who followed shouted, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our father David. Hosanna in the highest heaven. Jesus entered Jerusalem and went into the temple courts. He looked around at everything, but since it was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12. The next day, as they were leaving Bethany, Jesus was hungry. Seeing in the distance a fig tree in leaf, he went to find out if it had any fruit. When he reached it, he found nothing but leaves, because it was not the season for figs. Then he said to the tree, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples heard him say it. On reaching Jerusalem, Jesus entered the temple courts and began driving out those who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves, and would not allow anyone to carry merchandise through the temple courts. And as he taught them, he said, "Is it not written, 'My house will be called a house of prayer for all nations'? But you have made it a den of robbers." The chief priests and the teachers of the law heard this and began looking for a way to kill him, for they feared him, because the whole crowd was amazed at his teaching. When everything came, Jesus and his disciples went out of the city. In the morning, as they went along, they saw the fig tree withered from roots. Peter remembered and said to Jesus, "Rabbi, look, the fig tree you cursed has withered." "Have faith in God," Jesus answered. "Truly I tell you, if anyone says to this mountain, 'Go throw yourself into the sea,' and does not doubt in their heart, but believes that what they say will happen, it will be done for them. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. And when you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive them, so that your Father in heaven may forgive you your sins."
Who do you think made the Last Supper? Bread. It's easy enough. Flour, water, a bit of salt, some herbs for flavor. Normally you'd add yeast, but not on Passover. No, not on Passover. We do not have the time to let the bread rise. Our deliverance is at hand. Or so the story goes. Passover. It's always the same. We eat the bread, we drink the wine, there's lamb, herbs. We remember our deliverance and our coming deliverance. Next year in Jerusalem, we always say, our Messiah will come. It's always the same. And it always seems so far off and so complicated. But this year, things were, well, 2 men approached our servant. He was out fetching some water. They were looking for a place to celebrate the Passover with their rabbi, and my husband and I had an extra room. So I baked the unleavened bread and delivered it to them upon arrival. The rabbi came in and he graciously introduced himself as a horde of 12 men followed him to our upper room. I had heard about this rabbi. Wild tales of healing the blind, raising the dead, walking on water. So, naturally, I stood by the door and peeked around the corner. And that's when I saw him turn things upside down. You see, the man who sits at the head of the table is not supposed to wash someone's feet. But there he was, moving from man to man, washing their dirty feet. I pulled back because I didn't want to be seen. But still, I listened. His words were sure and kind, but like
fire like no other rabbi I had ever heard before. "If you have seen me, you have seen the Father," he told them. He also spoke of the cup of the new covenant and of us being children and not orphans. And as the bread was passed, the unleavened bread of deliverance, he said, "I am the living bread." Living bread. What did we know of that then? A new covenant? Our deliverance was on our doorstep? And there he was, literally on my doorstep. We didn't know what to expect. Last of all, we didn't expect for our world to be turned upside down.
Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane. And he said to them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took Peter and the two sons of Zebedee along with him and began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Going a little further, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet, not as I will, but as you will." Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Couldn't you men keep watch with me for 1 hour?" he asked Peter. "Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." He went away a second time and prayed, "My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done." When he came back, he again found them sleeping because their eyes were heavy. So he left them, and he went away once more and prayed the third time, saying the same thing. Then he returned to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come, and the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise, let's go. Here comes my betrayer." While he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd armed with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer had arranged a signal with them. "The one I kiss is the man, arrest him." Going at once to Jesus, Judas said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. Jesus replied, "Do what you came for, friend." Then the men stepped forward and seized Jesus and arrested him. With that, one of Jesus' companions reached for his sword, drew it out, and struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his ear. "Put your sword back in place," Jesus said to them. "For all who draw the sword will die by the sword. Do you think I cannot call on my Father, and he will at once put at my disposal more than 12 legions of angels? But how then would the scriptures be fulfilled that say it must happen in this way?" In that hour, Jesus said to the crowd, "Am I leading a rebellion that you have come out with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I sat at the temple courts teaching, and you did not arrest me."
You know, I thought he was the one. We all did. Guess we were wrong. Everyone thought he was the one. There was a party. We were all there. And a woman, she comes in and she's carrying this jar of perfume. Expensive perfume. And she poured it all over him. It was such a waste. But the reason why she did that was because she thought he was the one. You know, I told Jesus, now we could have sold that perfume. We could have used the money to further the cause. And he came back at me, insinuating that he was the cause. Even still, I thought he was the one. I was so sure that he was the one that was going to change everything, to turn things upside down. You know, people would have followed him anywhere. They would have done whatever he said. They would have made him king. All he had to do was say the word. But he wouldn't. You know what he said to me? My time has not yet come. Give me a break. I mean, he was out healing the blind. He was making food out of practically nothing. I mean, he was raising people from the dead, for goodness sake. His time had not yet come. I mean, if this wasn't the time, were you there when he came into Jerusalem? I mean, people were lining the streets. They were taking off their cloaks and putting it on the ground just so the donkey he was riding on wouldn't touch the dirt. I mean, the time had come. He just needed a little push, a nudge in the right direction. I mean, I could see it. I mean, everyone must have been able to see it. I mean, Peter must have seen it. John, I couldn't have been the only one who saw it. But I was the only one who had the courage to do something about it. So yeah, I forced his hand. I made his time come. We were all there, having a meal in the upstairs room of the house. He looked right at me. He said, "Get on with it." Like he knew exactly what I was planning on doing. I mean, how did he know what I was going to do? It wasn't about the money. Yeah, no one will believe me, but it wasn't. It's just when you have the power that he had, when you can do the things that he could do, I mean, why wouldn't you leverage that to further the agenda? I mean, I thought he was the one. It's like, you know when the wind starts blowing real hard and strong, how the waves just start rolling in, and you know the sound when the waves, they crash on the shore, and then for just a moment there's silence before the next wave comes crashing in. Yeah, it was That was what it was like. I mean, when he spoke, I mean, he was the rolling waves. Every word of his mouth was a crash on the shore, and well, the people listening, they were the hush after the wave. I mean, when you heard him speak, when you were in his presence, I mean, you knew he was the one. He was the one. He was the one. Oh, dear Lord, what have I done?
And Pilate took Jesus and had him flogged. The soldiers twisted together a crown of thorns and put it on his head. They clothed him in purple robe and went up to him again and again, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they slapped him in the face. Once more, Pilate came out and said to the Jews gathered there, "Look, I bring him out to you to let you know that I find no basis for a charge against him." When Jesus came out wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe, Pilate said to them, "Here is the man." As soon as the chief priests and the officials saw him, they shouted, "Crucify! Crucify!" But Pilate answered, "You take him and crucify him. As for me, I find no basis for the charge against him." The Jewish leaders insisted, "We have a law, and according to the law, he must die because he claimed to be the Son of God." When Pilate heard this, he was even more afraid, and he went back inside the palace. "Where do you come from?" he asked Jesus. But Jesus gave him no answer. "Do you refuse to speak to me?" Pilate said. Do you realize that I have the power to either free you or crucify you? Jesus answered, "You would have no power over me if it were not given to you from above. Therefore, the one who handed me over to you is guilty of a greater sin." From then on, Pilate tried to set Jesus free, but the Jewish leaders kept shouting, "If you let this man go, you are no friend of Caesar. Anyone who claims to be a king opposes Caesar." When Pilate heard this, he brought Jesus out and sat down on the judge's seat at a place known as the Stone Pavement, which in Aramaic is Gabbatha. It was the day of preparation of the Passover. It was about noon. "Here is your king," Pilate said to the Jews. But they shouted, "Take him away! Take him away! Crucify him!" "Shall I crucify your king?" Pilate asked. "We have no king but Caesar," the chief priests answered. Finally, Pilate handed him over to them to be crucified.
Do you ever get that feeling? You realize something, but you realize it just a little too late. All you want to do is to turn around and go back, step back in time. But all you can do is turn around and stare at it. You hope for a different outcome. You wish for a second chance. But you don't get it. I got a pocket full of those feelings. I was there that day. I was standing at the foot of the cross. A shell of a man. Heart hardened to emotion, to death. to gore. I was the one who nailed him to it. As I had done hundreds of times to countless thieves and robbers and rebels and murderers. But that man, he did things. He said things. It was like life didn't seep out of him. He decided when to let it go. That man. You ever have a conversation with someone and you get to the middle of the conversation and they say that they forgive you, and it kind of takes you aback? You kind of stiffen. You bow up. You puff out. Why do I need to be forgiven? What are you forgiving me for? And when that happens, you've got two choices. You can do two things. You can either think about it, dwell on it, and get angrier and angrier and angrier, or that man. He hung there on that cross. And he said, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And then he looked right at me. He looked at me. That moment, it was like running into a brick wall. It was like trying to walk into a stiff breeze where it takes every fiber of your being just to take another step and go forward. I mean, I break people. I break bones. I nail people's hands and their feet to crosses. I push the spear in their sides. It's my job. It's what I do. Why do I need to be forgiven for doing my job and doing it right? But I need to be forgiven. I need it. He looked down at me, and I looked up at him. And I said, this man he is the Son of God.